we're going to have an amazing time. So I don't know what you thought about before you jumped on, but just get ready to have a great time. Let me know if you can hear me and everything is tracking give me the reactions, but give me a thumbs up or a high five or, no crazy faces just yet. I haven't said anything, but we're going to have a good time. And even if you don't, make faces at me, it's all good. I like those. I like those. All right, but again, thank you for allowing me to share this space. And so let's jump right in. I know we got 60 or 55 minutes in time, and so we're going to make a true impact. And I want to start off by saying that it's an exciting day to be alive, and I hope you're excited about life. And I'm going to be encouraging you and inspire you and even push you, nudge you a little bit to raise your level of resiliency throughout this presentation. You're going to be active, involved in it. You're going to be diving into the chat box. So go ahead and do those finger exercises real quick. Who knows what may happen? I might sing a little. I might play something on this keyboard. I might dance a little. We're going to see what happens, but knowing that you're here with me, I'm in good company. So before we get started, go ahead and raise your right hand. If I can see you, I'll see. But raise your right hand and repeat after me. I can.
I can.
I will.
I will.
I must.
I must.
Be resilient.
Be resilient.
Go ahead and say it again. I can.
Come on, everybody.
I will.
I can. I will.
I must.
I must.
Be resilient.
Be resilient.
All right. So listen, you made that commitment, and now we're going to take it to the next level. And so what we're going to be covering today is creating and retaining a resilient mindset. We're going to be assessing your current self-leadership skills to make sure they are on par to being resilient. We're going to say hello to courageous and confident you, and goodbye to I'm barely making it. But I realize that may be some of your spaces right now. You may be in that space of, Kenston, I'm barely making it. But here's the thing. You joined this session, and you're going to get what you need to move in towards that more courageous and confident you. We're going to talk about discovering and utilizing the art of curiosity during times of crisis, and then understand the true and the real power of connection and community. So I got a question before we get started, and I want you to get ready to dive into the chat box. And because it's a smaller group, if a couple people want to share, once you come up with this thought, be ready to share. I want to know, what's something good that happened to you during this pandemic? What's something good? Think about it and then dive into the chat box, or you want to come off of mute, please share with us. What is something good that has happened to you?
All right, this is Ken. If I can so speak up, as weird as this is going to sound, I lost my job. And that was a blessing because it pushed me in a direction that I would have never selected on my own.
Wow. That's so good. That's so good. Said perspective.
Hi there, this is Amanda.
Hey, Amanda.
Hi there. I refined my group of friends. I tightened up my circle, and there's my dog. I have to also spend time with my dog. But I was able to refine my group of friends, and it's just been a blessing to be able to spend more quality time with those people.
So good. So good. I see Will's in the chat. He said, more time with my kids, school, working from home. Got to spend more time with kids, family game night. I don't know about you, but I had enough family game nights. Like, they went overboard. I'm like, what game are we playing now? Okay. But listen, it made us be creative as parents. And like Will said, and like the other person said, listen, before the pandemic happened, my son was having some issues in school. And I'm trying to wrap my head around it. What's going on? And I found out that he had a hidden account on IG and was this whole other person. And so he's being influenced by his friends and other people in a not so good way. And so this pandemic gave me opportunity to build and rebuild a relationship with him. Not that I wasn't present before, but I had to actually really, really be present even more, right? And so I always say a crisis is an opportunity for something amazing to happen, right? We can look at everything that has taken place, but as long as we're saying, look, there's an opportunity to do something. There's an opportunity to do something. And hear me clearly, my heart, it says, I know a lot of crazy things that's taken place during this pandemic. I lost loved ones, right? You may have lost some people that you knew. And here's the thing, you're going to keep going. You're going to keep moving, and you're going to keep being grateful through it all, right? That's how, if we think about it, that's how we're making it through this thing is we continuously having that mindset of we're going to make it through. And so if you haven't been hit under the rock like this guy on the screen, if you hadn't been hit a rock, you understood that we kind of been going through some things. We got the COVID crisis. We've had a racial crisis, right? There's so many different things going on. We've had a teacher crisis, right? Teachers were going crazy because they didn't know how to operate in the virtual world, right? Very few did, but a lot of them didn't. You know, there was moments where my son had 1 to 0 assignments because the teachers were trying to figure out how to work this thing out, right? It was a crisis. Then we had students crisis. They're going crazy because they got to spend all this time with their parents, no, but away from their friends, the people they hang out with, right? A lot of things is going nuts. And then we had the parent crisis where, there were so many TikToks going on, dancing. How many did a TikTok? Be honest, right? Give me a thumbs up or some type of emoji. You can whisper. I know for me, I did a couple, okay? Some of them were good, some of them were not so good. My son was like, Dad, yeah, try again later, okay? Try again later, or not at all. Then PCMA, all right? We had a crisis. A hospitality industry had a crisis, right? Very real, very raw, to the point where you may have been like Jim Carrey, trying to pull your hair out because so many things was happening. Or, you're looking like the person on the left. The Lord is testing me. What's the lesson in all of this, right? So much stress, so much, you may have experienced depression. You might have experienced so many different crazy things. And so I honestly, I'm going to ask you a question after we review this slide, but here are some of the things that took place. People were, a lot of fear and worry was taking place during all of these crises, right? It makes sense. Changes in sleep patterns, difficulty sleeping, worsening in mental health. I don't know about you. I don't know if I was the only one, but, I felt like, my mind was shifting because I do a lot of diversity, equity, inclusion work. And I had to take myself away from the news. All right, I had to take myself away from social media because all those things were inundating my mind while I'm trying to equip leaders and organizations and teams with great information. I wasn't as great of an impact because I was allowing myself to be exposed to so many things. So I had to, take some time away. And so I want to ask you the question, in this moment right now, how are you doing? A, you're doing really great, no concerns. B, you're doing okay as long as you keep moving forward. C, you're not doing okay, but I just do what I need to do. And then D, I'm really not okay, and I could use some help. Where are you? Go ahead and put that in the chat box. And I sincerely want to know, how are you doing? Again, I don't need to point out stats and things that your industry has been experiencing. In the city of Columbus, I sat on one of the mayor's committees, and it was to, see how we can help the hospitality, industry bounce back and better than it was even before the pandemic. So good. I'm doing okay as long as I keep moving. All right. I see most of that. A is I'm doing really great, no concerns. Good. And I just want you to be honest, because here's the thing. Denise, Will, and myself, we're here for you. And we're truly here for you if you need someone to talk to. Okay, we only got 30 seconds, but if you need somebody to talk to longer, we got EAPs, we got therapists. No, I'm just playing. We'll give you longer than that 30 seconds, but seriously, because we care and we want you to keep being at your best. So it's good to know. And so go ahead and take a breath of fresh air right now, in and out, as we move forward, because we're about to jump into some crazy resilience. And so, another question is, how did you all do it? How did you all make it to this point during the pandemic, during the crises of everything? Just put that in the chat box, and I'll take one or two verbal responses. How are you doing it? Because you're here, so how are you doing it?
All right, so this is Ken. I'll speak up again. For me, it's my faith.
Okay.
I don't know how people do it without a faith. I just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
I think there are some days where you're like, I'm not sure how I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
You just keep plugging along. You've got that motivation of wanting to be a good coworker, wanting to be good parent or friend, and so you just keep going. Yeah.
It's good. It's good. I'm seeing it, checking in the comment section. Give my kids, hubby, and myself some extra grace in every day. Lots of hugs. Yeah, it's good. Doing something creative, exercise, and knowing there's light at the end of the tunnel. Reconnecting with the why. You're saying a lot, Will. You're speaking a language. That's good. Listen, y'all want to know how I've been making it? Give me a thumbs up if you want to know. I think, because some days been crazy, and me and my son, my wife, we get a little crazy sometimes, and this is what it looks like. My favorite actor is Rocky Balboa, aka Sylvester Stallone, and so we may just turn it up, and we may just go all out on some type of rock, and it sounds like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so I started making up a song because I play piano, and I'm like, how would the made Power Chapter do this? And I was like, I wonder if they'll sing with me. Say, I am resilient. I am resilient. I am resilient. I am resilient. And so, that's what it looks like for me. We'll be rocking all over the place and having a good time, right? And so you all said your faith, your family, your friendships, connecting to your why. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. So I encourage you to keep doing those things. And I'm just going to give you some extra tools. Now, before the pandemic, this was the definition of resilience. It is our ability to bounce back from the stresses of life. It's not about avoiding the stress, but learning to thrive within the stress. So that was the definition pre-COVID. All right. But this is the new and improved definition of resilience. Resilience is our ability to bounce back from and during multiple global crises in the same year. Like, do y'all realize we are all in this session? We have survived multiple different crises taking place around the globe. Like, we had no choice about avoiding it. We were in it, okay? And so that's why I'm saying you already are resilient. You are already resilient. It's not about avoiding a crisis. It's about learning how to thrive within them. Do you have the mindset that repeats, I am amazing. I am great at what I do. I'm going to push past this piece. Right? I can imagine, Ken, you didn't say to yourself that, when you lost your job that, well, it's an opportunity for something amazing to happen. I don't know if you said that at first, right? But when perspective came into play, it was like, oh, this actually was for my good, and it worked out. And so are we thinking in that manner of where we are thinking in an amazing way? And so I love this quote by Bern Williams: man never made any materials as resilient as the human spirit. Right? We are strong. We are survivors. But here's the thing. For me, I've been put on this earth to not just survive, but to thrive. And I believe that same thing is true about you. You weren't put on this earth just to survive these multiple pandemics. No, you were put on this earth to learn, to grow, and to thrive through all. Here's the thing. But I've never seen before. And so for me, you never seen you are really resilient. Like you so resilient that now you can teach other people how to make it through. When they say, how did y'all make it through 2019, 2020, and 21? You be like, I got you covered. Now, have you ever made anything that went bad? Have you ever baked anything, cooked anything that was just horrible? Somebody real quick, tell me, be honest, this is confession time, because I'm about to confess to you, so don't leave me out there. What did you make that was horrible? Shauna, what you got? Or Danielle, somebody else, come on out here. What did you make that was like, oof?
I don't remember what I made, but thank goodness we could just order pizza. So there's always the pizza fallback.
Yeah. Somebody else. What did you make? What did you make?
So the first dinner I made for my now wife was terrible.
Don't be ashamed. What was it? What did you make? Still there? Let's see.
I'll tell a funny story. So it's not me, so I'm telling this on a friend. But a friend, I remember, she was just so proud of the meal that she made for her they were just newly engaged, and she said, oh my goodness, do you love this steak? And he looked at her and he said, steak? He goes, these are pork chops. So that was a different way to approach it. They were good, but
yeah,
not what she thought she was making.
Well, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all a story, but don't judge me, all right? I'm your brother from another mother. Don't judge me just yet. So my family staple dish during Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving is coming up, is dressing. Okay, dressing, and I don't know if you all are familiar with dressing. I'll show you a picture. This is not dressing, okay? This is stovetop stuffing. But my mother and my father, they went off to see my brother in Atlanta, Georgia, and his wife. And they said, well, Kenston, you're going to be the one here with the other family members. You have to make the dressing. And I was like, okay, cool. No sweat. Now, other previous Thanksgivings, I'm the one who cooks the sweet potato or bakes sweet potato souffle, casserole, whatever you want to call it. And I make the best. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't know if you know anybody in the cooking industry, but listen, they need to call me. No, but I make sweet potato souffle, and my mother gave me the recipe, and I started putting things together, and it's supposed to look like this. Okay. It's supposed to look like this. And so I put the recipe together, put it in the oven, and take it out of the oven, put it on the table. Everybody's around the table talking, giving, and we give thanks. And people start jumping into, the dressing, because that's the staple dish. That's like, it's the one that everybody takes care of. And one of my sisters asked me, Kenston, did you add the poultry seasoning to the dish? And I said, well, I use seasoning salt. Is that okay? No, because it's bland. Oh, okay. Then somebody else said, Kenston, did you add eggs to this? I was like, was that on the recipe? And somebody said, did you taste it, Kenston? And I said, well, I mean, I make sweet potato souffle. So what are we talking about here? And they like, Kenston, this is horrible. So listen, I've been the butt of the joke for many years because I messed up the staple dish, right? There's many recipes out there, but if we don't apply them, something could really go wrong, okay? And so I want to give you the recipe to resilience because it's so important that we have all the ingredients and use them, okay? Here's the key ingredients to really building an amazing foundation of resilience: positive self-esteem. And what I want you to do as I go through this list, I want you to I'll put it in question form for you. And I want you to ask yourself, how is my positive self-esteem? Do I have a positive self-esteem? Because we seen people during the pandemic, and it may have been you, I know for sure it's been me, where my self-esteem wasn't at an all-time high, put it that way. But it's a key ingredient to having resilience, an amazing foundation. You know, am I really self-aware? Okay. Again, are you aware of the things that are happening, your emotions, your energy? Do you keep it real with yourself? That's a part of the ingredients. Are you determined? You know, how is your level of determination? You see, I love the word determination and determine. There's a small word in there before you get to the MINED or the nation. That's DETER. How many have had an experience with the DETER word? Deter. That means a boundary, a stumbling block, something that got in your way, you know, during this pandemic, during you trying to get to the next day, right? We've all experienced a little bit of that detour, but being determined is saying, regardless, I'm going forward and I'm going to do what I need to do to make things happen and to live, you know, my best life, so to speak. You know, do you embrace change? Do you display empathy for yourself and for others? Do you motivate yourself and others, the people around you? Are you staying curious during these times of crisis? Have you been staying curious? And then the question after is, how can you stay curious during and after these crises? And then connection. Who's in your community? So let's dive deep into it. And because these ingredients are important, I want you to be able to see these ingredients in these different ways: emotionally, relationally, professionally, and mentally. These are four key areas that if you apply these that we just seen into these four areas of your life, you're guaranteed. Look, I'll put the guarantee that you are going to be stronger. You know, you're going to be even more wiser. You're going to make it. I've seen so many people start businesses. So many people start to do things that they never thought they could do during during these various crisis moments, right? But it had to do with how are they doing emotionally, relationally, professionally, and mentally, because that makes the difference. And so let's talk about self-awareness. Now, imagine me, you know, jumping through the screen, jumping into your room, and I'm running around your room, your space, your office, and I'm saying, let's be resilient. Woo! Come on, come on, come on, Shauna. Come on, Lisa. Come on, Amy. Come on, Will. Woo! What did I just bring into your house or your office? What did I just bring besides craziness and nuts? What did I bring?
Excitement, joy.
Excitement, joy, noise. brought energy, right? You see, being aware of your energy is so essential to you bouncing back. You know, are you aware of the type of energy that you have even in this current moment? Right? Did my energy rub off on you while running through your house or your office? Right? It's so important that we have good energy because it's how you feel from moment to moment. And being aware of your energy will help you be more resilient. You see, I describe these 4 different types of energy to you. And so starting at the low negative, where you're worried, you're depressed. Are you aware of when you're in those moments? Are you aware when you have high negative energy, where you're angry, you're hostile? I know I had to do some consultations with some parents because they had a few moments being in the house for, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with their children. That hasn't happened since they were a baby. And now they are in this space, confined space, where they're trying to figure life out, okay? But then there's low positive, where you're reflectful and grateful. And then there's excited, the high energy that I just gave you. Are you aware of your energy? And then are you aware of others' energy? Right? You can sense when someone is not, doing well, and you don't even have to ask them how they're doing. You can feel it, what they're doing. And so being aware of that, again, it's a part of knowing where you are, so that way you can engage. Here's a tool that I like to use. It's called a mood elevator. And again, it's all about that self-awareness of where am I? Because knowing where you are tells you whether to proceed, quickly, or to proceed with caution. And I believe, every adult has walked up and down this mood elevator in the same week, but maybe even in the same day. And it's okay. But as long as you know where you are, the better you will engage. Hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. And so I want to give you this term that I've been given to a lot of different organizations, and kind of what I stand by. And it's almost like the resilient creed. And so being a game changer is somebody that significantly impacts a situation, a circumstance, or outcome, and raises the level of skill and awareness in those around them. And I believe everyone in this session is a game changer. And I want you to wear this badge proudly. I'm giving you this badge of resilient game changer because I want you to wear it proudly. And I want you to know that, again, through every situation, every crisis, you can make it. You can make it. And you will change the game by having a winning mindset. Having a never giving up mindset is going to help. You're going to change the game by understanding that connection matters, and then supporting your team members, right? Making sure that you're checking in on your colleagues, making sure you're just saying, hey, how are you doing? You're really asking them that question, and tell them, listen, this is not fake. This is real. I really want to know how you're doing, because how can I support you during these times? Right? How many have done that during this pandemic, that you reached out to someone, you just said, you know what, how are you doing right now? And what can I do to support you? I bet you a few of you have. Yeah, I see some hands raised. Good. So I want to talk about connection real quick. This is a quote that I live by. It says, if you're doing life alone, you're doing it all wrong. Y'all ready to sing with me? Hey, if you're doing life alone, you're doing it all wrong. I love this. And you can apply this to everything, and especially the work that you do. Just go ahead and insert, hospitality or event planning. If you're doing event planning alone, if you're doing anything alone, you're doing it all wrong. You see, we weren't put on this earth to do life alone. We were put on this earth for connection. And as you've seen during this pandemic, we've seen a lot of not so good things because it made us isolate, right? And some people didn't do well during the isolation times of COVID, right? There were people literally losing their minds, and it's not good, right? And I even coach people to say, hey, jump on a Zoom call, jump on a WebEx, jump on a FaceTime, do what you need to do so you are not isolated, because it's not a good thing, especially if you were a person who liked to engage in. And I know in your industry, y'all like people. Y'all like working with people. And yeah, I'm sure some of you may have struggled some. But again, we got to do things. We got to change the game and make sure we have human connection. Okay? Maintaining human connection is essential to maintaining our overall emotional and physical well-being, right? There's so many studies out there that says that having these connections, having your community, your tribe will increase life, your life longevity, right? Having the right people around you will do that. I heard somebody say that they had to switch up some friends or, tag some new friends in. It's so crucial because depending on who you surrounded yourself with during this pandemic and even to this point, either made you more healthier, made you stronger, made you wiser, made you better, or it did the opposite of that. And we don't have time for the opposite negative effect because we got places to go, people to see, and lives to impact. That's what you all do. You got places to go, people to see, and lives to impact. And that's what you love to do, right? Somebody will say, you have to like people to work in this industry. So true, so true. So, I love this Brene Brown quote. It says, human connection is an energy exchange between people who are paying attention to one another. It has the power to deepen the moment, inspire change, and build trust, right? The feeling that you belong to a group and generally feel close to other people. Again, so many things happen when we're connected to the right people, right? You all know from the ABCs of event planning or putting an event together. You all know that and how critical connection is for the event to be successful. There's so many moving parts, and so we need people. We need that connection, even in our personal lives. So let's make sure that we have the right people. I want you to think about, do I have the right people around me? Do I have the right people? Are they cheering me on? Are they encouraging me to make it, right? Are they encouraging me to do better? Are they encouraging me to seek, different, new opportunities to continue to grow? Those are people you want around you, okay? And of course you want it, because you want it to be reciprocal. You don't want to just people dumping things on you and you're like, whoa, what do I do with all of this, right? You want it to be a balance. You want it to be balanced relationships. Connect with those people who are positive. They have a positive outlook on, during this pandemic. Find ways to laugh a lot. I've seen people in groups, they jump on Zoom and they'll put on, a YouTube video that's just hilarious, a whole comedy special. They'll just get on it or they'll share their screens, right? They're reading different things together. New book clubs have been formed. Conversations are happening. So I want you to, repeat to yourself, I can, I will, I must be resilient. And so here's some tips, because like I said, I want you to have some tips on how to foster connection, greater connections. Reach out to new colleagues. Take the initiative to develop a relationship with them, right? It doesn't take much. And even if it has to be virtual, do it virtual. It doesn't matter whether it's in person or virtually. Spend time with people. Offer your help to different organizations or volunteer somewhere else that needs your help. I can remember, an unfortunate event happened in my life where I experienced divorce. And I remember that it was my community, it was my support team that helped me walk through that journey of divorce in a healthy way. right? Can't believe it or not, it was in a healthy way. And what that looked like was just them sitting there with me in the space, them going out to eat with me, taking me to the movies. Yeah, yeah. Amanda, did you have a question or something to share? I see her hand was raised, just making sure. Okay, I'll keep going. All right, so having a community makes a lot of great sense. Stay in touch. You know, keep in touch with your friends. Again, check in on them every other, week or every other day. You know, meet up face to face. Like I said, however you can do it. But what I want you to do right now is, I got I will at the bottom. As a result of us going through these connections part, what will you do? What can you do right now or right after we get off of this session? What can you commit to? Go ahead and put, I will commit to calling someone. It doesn't have to be something all big and grandiose, but it's just checking on people. I will. What will you do? Build and foster new relationships. I will be more intentional about checking in on my closest friends. Yeah, Danielle said it. I wouldn't survive without my besties, right? And that's how it should be. It's not that you're totally leaning and dependent on them, right? But they're helping cultivate resilience when you have strong connection. Yeah, that's so good, so good. Others, put them in there, because I want you to make this commitment to yourself and to us. And this is that a part of accountability, because you weren't meant to do life alone. And if you're doing it alone, you're doing it wrong. I will commit to calling my mom, friends to go on walks together. That's so good. I will move out of my comfort zone and schedule time to catch up with friends despite time zone differences. That's it. That's it. It's like removing the barriers, removing the detours out of the way and say, you know what? I can just send a quick email or a quick text and say, hey, when can we jump on? Or do a doodle, use the doodle app and send them some times. And so that way they can select what time is best. And then y'all there. Let's do it. Let's do it. I will commit to checking in with friends from college. That's so good. I will be better at talking with people about my feelings. Yeah. And here's the thing, your connection in your connection group, you can have a counselor, you can have a therapist, a part of your group, right? Someone who can handle what you have to say. And if it's a lot, definitely get a therapist, make them a part of your support team, your tribe, your people, because it's so necessary as we're talking about bouncing back like never before. So good. I just want you to know that you matter. Go ahead and tell yourself, I matter. Just point to yourself, I matter. Say your name and say, I matter. You do matter. And so I need you to stay curious during moments of, crises, right? The more we can stay curious, the better we're going to be. What can I learn from this experience? Have you asked yourself that? What can I learn from going through this pandemic? I know companies who swore up and down that they were never going to allow their workers to work remotely. They need to be in person. They need to see them and feel. But then they had to go virtual pretty quickly. And now some of them haven't went back in person. They like the virtual world, right? And so how can you be curious in the moments of crisis? I remember, like I said, I was teaching, and training, speaking on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I found myself in a space being boggled down. And, it took my wife to tap me on my shoulder and said, Kenston, so what are you going to do? I said, oh, that's a good question. What am I going to do? How can I, and so I started thinking, how can I be a solution in these matters of racial unrest? I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a trainer. Oh, got it. I did just come out with a TEDx that talks about how to have winning conversations. So That's my superpower. And so now I'm engaging with organizations, I'm engaging with groups of people in homes and around the communities to, have conversations. That's how I became resilient, by being curious and staying curious. Now I want to ask you, what is your superpower? Right? What is your superpower during, again, these times of crises? Because this is what's going to keep you going and adding value to self, but also to other people around you. What is your superpower? Will said empathy. Ken said loving on people. Yes, I love that. What else? What else? What else? Hugs is my superpower. And I know you've been restrained, Natalie. Listen. But listen, it's coming back. We coming back to in person. We're coming back. Hugs is cheerful and upbeat. Determination. Listening is so good. Because here's the thing, the world needs every last one of our superpowers. It needs us. It needs us. Now, I know during the pandemic, like I showed you before, people were trying to be curious in not so good ways, right? I feel bad for the and this is not my son. I promise you, this is not my son. I wasn't, testing my barbering skills out on him, but it's supposed to be Michael Jordan or the jump man. That's not cool. It's not cool. Haircuts, y'all. I don't know who did this, but this was on Dr. Google. This was on Dr. Google. And I'm sad because it's supposed to be representing Michael Jackson, and not good at all. And again, the parents and the dance offs, and again, some of them were good, not so good, but in reality is, how can we be and stay curious and use our superpowers, right? Some of you already have said some of these things on this list. Checking on your team members, using that empathy superpower with the people around you, choosing to listen, ask intentional questions. This is what we got to do to keep building resilience within ourselves, but also we can't be stingy, y'all. We can't be stingy and hold it to ourselves. We got to help other people around us. I can, I will, I must be curious. Go ahead and say that to yourself. I can, I will, I must be curious. We got to keep moving. But in the midst of a crisis, how we become even greater at, of what we do and what we bring is staying curious. You matter. Positive self-esteem. So building a positive self-esteem is so crucial to building your resilience. Negative thinking will never make your life positive. That's so true, right? It's so true. Negative thinking will never make your life positive. And so I want to ask you this. I want you to jot down. You can at least jot down 3. If you're writing it down, write down 10 things you like about yourself. Write down. I want you to write 10, but after the session, get 2 to 3 things that you really like about yourself. 3 positive words to describe you. Because it's so crucial. Your self-esteem, what you think about yourself is everything, really. And if you need some help, send that quick text out to your friends, your closest friends, those who know your colleagues, those who know you, and ask them, what is your most positive attribute? Ask them that question. What do they believe your most positive attribute is? And so write down those 3 things. And this is where we build ourselves up, right? It may seem a little elementary to some, but it's working. I had a lot of testimonies that saying it's working because they didn't feel good about themselves during these times of crisis. But once they start thinking about these positive things of who they truly are, amazing, you're hopeful, you're creative, you are strong, and great things begin to happen. You know, think about what is your proudest accomplishment? What are you proudest most? Proud of most in the industry that you're in? You know, whether you're a buyer, whether you're an event planner, what role will you play in what to be remembered in life? I know some don't like to think in that manner, but you know, at your funeral, what would you be remembered for? I was teaching a class yesterday, and I asked this question. You know, what would you like to be remembered for? And it took me back to a funeral that I went to over the pandemic, and I had to play the music for it. And the person that was leading the funeral asked, did any of the family members or friends or, you know, those who were there have anything to say about the person who had passed away? And I was playing the piano, and I looked up, looked around, and I put my head back down and kept playing. No one had anything to say about the person. That shouldn't be, right? That shouldn't be. Not that everybody has to be running towards the mic, but yeah. Amanda, did you have something? I see your hand raised. Okay. I'll just take that as you're good. But what do you want to be remembered for? I know one thing I want you to be remembered for is that, you know, on this day, October 14th, 2021, I was in an amazing session with Kenston, and I'm resilient. You see, when any crisis comes, I rise. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it can sometimes be overwhelming, but I am resilient. I bounce back. Yeah, I may be down. And there's a quote that says, if you've been knocked down and you can look up, you can get up. And if you can get up, you're moving forward, right? And so I want to encourage you to take the time to build your self-esteem. Love on you. You're loving, you're caring. Put down all those things of who you are, because you are somebody. So again, tips to build positive self-esteem. Continue. What are your positive strengths? What's a new skill that you picked up during 2020 and 21 during the pandemic? What is something new that you can do now? Celebrate every single win that you have. It's so important. You set some goals to celebrate every win, because that's just building on top of the amazing, resilient person you're becoming. Write down those affirmations and make sure you give yourself that positive talk and be kind to yourself. There was a word that started with the G during this whole pandemic that I've been using as well, grace. Give yourself grace in these moments, right? Give yourself grace to know that you don't have to be strong in every moment, right? But knowing that you're going to get through those moments, right? Again, that's that mindset, training your mind to say, I'm gonna be here for a little bit, but I'm getting up, right? I'm getting up. And so, you know, you may have experienced some of these things, but I love this, another Brene Brown quote: empathy has no script. There is no right way or wrong way to do it. It's simply listening, holding space, withholding judgment, and, you know, connecting and communicating that incredible healing message of you're not alone. Okay. I need you to know that you're not alone, and that makes sense. And so with this the resilient mindset, be spontaneous, right? Be flexible in the way you do things. Change your usual routines, like the route you take to work, take a different way. Adopt the attitude of a neutral observer. When you're faced with a stressful situation, instead of reacting in your usual way, pretend you are a brand new person in that situation and see how that works. Find another explanation, right? What that means is your mind is going to go back to what your experience has been, but again, change the game by finding something different. Again, being curious in that moment is super crucial. And so in this moment right now, these few minutes I have with you, how will you be more resilient? What is some commitments you can make right now that says, okay, if I put, this ingredient in play, I'm going to be more resilient. Think about it. Personally, professionally, emotionally, physically. What is these ingredients that we went over? What is one of them? What is two of them that you can put into play right now? Good. Go ahead and put that in the chat box. Give myself and others grace has been important. Good. We need it. We all need it. Commit time to working on myself, not just letting life happen to me. What? Will, that's a quote of the century right there that you just said. It's not about letting life happen to me. I happen to life. Right? I happen to life. I like that. Being curious, looking at things differently, approaching things differently. It's good. Denise. What else? What can you do? What ingredients can you cultivate a little bit more? Right? What connections do you need to make? Patience. Yep, that came back to back, Danielle and Natalie. Patience, and listening skills. Good. We have to be intentional in strengthening ourselves before trouble comes. And that's the thing. Listen, because we've been through what we've been through, and I say we because this is together, y'all. We've been through some things, and so the more we can build and cultivate resiliency is the key to us not only surviving, but us thriving. And so I want you all, if you could do me a favor, do me a big favor, come off of mute real quick, and gotta say this. We gotta say this together. Come off of mute. Just repeat after me. I can.
I can.
All right. I will.
I will.
I must. Be the resilient game changer.
Be the resilient game changer.
I was created to be.
I was created to be.
All right, y'all. You are amazing. And I'm thankful for you. I thank you for allowing me to share this space with you. Is there any questions that I can respond to in this moment? Any questions?
Kenston, question for you. What have you done personally to be more resilient prior to trouble coming? Because I realized that was one of the things that I was very grateful for, that I had done some work prior to losing my job. But I mean, what are some things that you've done? What would you recommend to us?
Yeah, for sure. So everything I share with you is some things that I've done, right? But really specifics is, like I said, gone through different things of life has, given me the lesson of I need to stay resilient. And so what that is, it looks like is watching what comes into my eye gates and my ear gates is a part of being resilient. So the music that I listen to, the news that I watch or don't watch, it's incredibly important. The people around me, right? The people who are supposed to be speaking life and not negativity, I had those people around me before, the pandemic took place. So it is so important that, again, all those things in that ingredient list, that they be activated continuously. Music, I'm a music person. Music is powerful, and so I played a lot. If you were connected to me on Facebook, I played music every Monday evening during the pandemic. And so it did the purpose of helping people relax, help people fall asleep, help people just drift, right? Just be. And that helped me as well, because I love playing. And so that was therapy for me as well. And again, my wife is a trained licensed counselor, so that helps a lot too. And so we had got married, and like right before COVID, and now we learned a lot during COVID. But just being able to talk with someone and share is so important.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good. So see something in the comment section. Do you have any suggestions on music, podcast, for sure? Anything that is positive, that has a positive message. Music that I listen to is between, pop rock to Christian music, contemporary Christian, gospel music. Those are the things. Someone's had alluded to faith, and depending on what yours is. Eric Thomas is a motivational speaker, Steve Robbins. Those are people I listen to quite frequently. And yeah, there's a lot of good people out there. And so now I'll turn it back over to Denise. But again, thank you all for sharing space with me. I appreciate it. And hopefully you got at least one good nugget out of this.
Absolutely. Multiple good nuggets out of this one, Kenston. Thank you so much. I think the one thing that we've all kind of experienced is the fact that just when you think that, you've got one part of what's coming at us under control, something else changes, right? Yeah. There's always change, and there's always something different. And so really kind of taking care of yourself, I matter. Yes. Is really going to be the way in to move forward, and to be able to be curious and to be flexible and nimble is to have a good foundation to start from. So thank you so much for all of your time and your insight today. We really appreciate it. Definitely love the connection points that people can follow you and continue to get nuggets of information from you. I think that is so key. So thank you so much to Kenston for your time today, and for everybody else for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. And I know that we are a few minutes over time, so I will just say thank you and have a good rest of the afternoon. Thanks.
Thank you. Take care, y'all.
Thank you.
I love this last comment. Thank you. I've been in 3 trainings today, and this was by far the best.
Hey,
capture that one, Kenston. I love it.
Yeah, gotta capture that one. That's good stuff.
Yes. That's great. Okay. I think we're
still got our hand up.
I know. I guess she didn't realize that she can lower her hand. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's great. Thank you so much, Kenston. We really appreciate today.
No
and you being so flexible with us and having to make the changes and everything. And so we'll keep in touch, and let us know if there's anything that you need us to do as follow-up.
Okay, will do. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.